warm-ups today. Okay. Okay, yesterday, I think some of you were asking me if your answer was acceptable because it was a little bit off from what I have. And most of the time the answer is yes. Most of the time. That just means I use the calculator and you use the chart, or vice versa. I use the chart and you use the calculator. Now, that doesn't work when the directions say use the empirical rule. When the directions say use the empirical rule, there is only one correct answer. There's no room for interpretation. The empirical rule is set. So, 1 and 2 were under the category that said use the empirical rule. So that's what we should have done on 1 and 2. Now, I'm going to give the quizzes back in a little bit. And when I do, I want you to see what kind of work you could have shown for this. There's not a lot of work you could show for the empirical rule, other than drawing and labeling your standard deviations on a standard curve. Not a standard curve, a normal curve. So, all you can do here is show me the normal curve, show me where you've labeled the mean, and show me where I can see each standard deviation out, what that actual value is for the given problem. So here we go on number 1. Work for this problem would be here. This is it. That's all I can do for work. So when I'm looking at this, what I would do on my test, if I were the one taking the test, is I would take this and I would go, all right, this middle is 68%, so that's 0.34 each. Okay, the next out would be the 95 minus the 68 divided by 2. So that would give me 0.135 here and 0.135 here. And then for this area, here and here, what would I do? I would do the 99.7 minus the 95 and divide that by 2. And that gives me the 0.0235. 0.0235. Then, on the outermost regions, here and here, it's the 100 minus the 99. Whoops, that's not 99. 99.7, trying to do it again, divided by 2. That would give us the 0.0015. 0.0015. So when they ask us for things like a purchase of $91 corresponds to what percentile? Well, I can look at 91 right here, and I can either add up all of those, or I could do 1 minus the sum of these two. 0.0235 plus the 0.0015. And that would get us to the answer. Okay. Do we see how to do number 1 solely using the empirical rule? Yes, ma'am. Great. Great. Any questions? Okay. Now let's look at number 2. The exact same type of question, except we're labeling differently. And this should be 97.5 here, guys. 97.5. Started to write down the incorrect answer. Okay. So check your work on number 2 and see if anybody has any questions. Good? Okay, if your answers are close, but they're not right on the money, that probably means you use these scores, which are actually more accurate, right? Mm-hmm. But because the directions said use the empirical rule, then we should have the same. Okay, check out number 3. Now it asks us to use what we know about standard normal. Standard normal tells us we are using z-scores. Tells you to use z-scores. Okay, 3 good? Great. All right, check out number 4. Mr. and Ms. Sun and Mr. and Ms. Newton. We converted to z-scores and then compared the data. To compare the data.
Mr. and Mrs. Newton were married.
I've seen John fly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually not married.
Okay, any questions about number 4? All right. Check out 5.
Do you want it all the way out there for number F?
For part F? Yes.
Okay.
Do I want it to that many decimal places?
Yeah.
No, if you gave me like 7.84, that's fine. Okay, on number 6A, that's a 1.74%. I just went a little wacky with my circling the answer there. Ooh. Let's talk about that. Thanks for bringing that up, Brandon. Showing our work. Do you see your teacher has work on her answer key? He didn't have his work.
I had a word.
Do you see how I set up the problem and then I gave you my answer?
Yes.
On your test, you must set up the problem. I will not give you any credit for just an answer, whether it's right or wrong, if you don't at least set up the problem so I can see and understand. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Can you come show me what I did wrong for
I sure can.
Because it's set up
Number
with
A.
Z-scores.
Okay, guys.
I got it right. And you got it right.
Is it stuck? You'll need to know.
Ha, 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 ha.
So this is supposed to be point one. Yes. And then I'll get 1.7. Now it's just all of a sudden.
You did, oh, see that? Versus if you don't, I can't. Okay. All right, let's take a look at number 7. Okay. Number 7. By the way, guys, we are recording today. We are recording because I had a student absent last period, Connor. And I want him to be able to see the review and hear the same things you guys hear. All right, questions about number 7?
For number 7,
No.
Yes.
I got pretty close for the decimals, but that's because I used different score.
Okay. Did you use the 18 percentile for the lower end, and then the 88th for the upper?
I almost did, but then I changed it.
Okay. Then you just probably used the calculator, and I used the chart. Yes.
Figure out which Z-score to use. Do you want the one right below it or the one like right above it?
If you're using the calculator, you don't have to make that decision.
But I don't like.
Okay. If you're using the chart, you want to use whichever one is closest.
Whichever one's closest.
Closest.
Okay. Because I didn't know whether to use the one below
Right.
or above.
And sometimes it looks like it's exactly halfway in between. And in that case, if it was halfway in between 0.57 and 0.58, I would would say it's a z-score of 0.575.
Okay.
If it were exact, if it looked like it was right in the middle.
Okay.
So, but once again, that's where having your work there and me being able to see what you did.
Yeah, because then it says like choose the whatever compile.
Right, you want whatever's closest to it.
Okay.
Alright, any more questions about this? Okay, what I'd like you to do now is pull out the one I asked you to do 1 through 5 on last night. Leave this one out for a second because I didn't check your homework at the beginning of class. Leave it out for a second. But pull out that other one. Let's use our class time to work on it. My answer key is right up here if you want to check as you go. And at the end of class, we'll try to go over some of them. Both of these answer keys are already on my website. So you can check your work tonight if we don't have time to go over everything at the end of class. Okay?